Hey guys, it's Josh. How you all doing today? Are you all well? I hope so. Good to see you again for an impromptu blog. I didn't plan on really doing this, but as I've been quite busy with it the past few days and what I've been doing, I thought it would be a good lesson to do. And so this is what. So today we're going to be talking about guitar recordings, software, how I record, any tips that I can give you, and okay. So firstly, you want to make sure that you have a good enough computer, laptop, software to actually record on. The most popular sort of interfaces are out. Things that are out there. You'll have people that use a lot of Line 6 software. An interface first is the main thing that you need. The interface is what does a lot of the processing. You can't just plug, say, like a guitar 1/4 inch jack into a USB. It's just not going to cut it. You're going to have a lot of latency and a lot of issues. Ones that I would highly recommend are the Focusrite, I think they are. Interfaces, Scarlett, they're meant to be very good. I use a Line 6 UX2. It cost me £125, and it actually come with the first thing that I actually started to do recordings with, which was obviously like Pod Farm. And then I moved on to Guitar Rig last year, which I was using for a while, and then obviously now I've used my Engel. So in terms of recording, obviously your software programs that you've got out there, you've got on Mac, you've got the Logic Pro X, which is Mac only UK. There's probably are some ways that you can get it onto Windows if you're using Windows. So for me personally, I'm using my Mac. You also have Cubase, you have Pro Tools, these Adobe Audition was one that I used to use for a while. That was very good, but it was quite complex. So in terms of my recording, I'm going to hopefully this is working. I've not tried the screen sharing before, so hopefully this is all going to work. So hopefully if I click my fingers like this, my screen should now pop up and you can see my screen. So firstly, you'll see down here I've got Guitar Rig, etc. I've got my Final Cut for when I'm doing videos like this, editing. So I'm going to Logic, and this is going to have a recording that I did last night. This is Rammstein cover, Sonne. So as you can see here, I've got a right track, and I've got a left track. I think what I want to make sure is to do is, as you can see here, I've cut out a lot of bits and pieces where there was excess noise and hum from the amp that wasn't really needed. So like if you see in this section here, you can see, if I zoom in, you've got bits of where the amp's making a bit of background noise, but thankfully it's nothing too bad, hence why I've left that bit in there. So when you record, the main thing I would recommend is you'll have your tracks. So if I just mute these two tracks here, and then so we've got the main track that I was playing to, and that's censored into the middle, and that's centered into the middle, so we're not going to the left, we're not going to the right, slap bang in the middle. You want to start off recording one track, whether you repeat the same, whether you play the song exactly the same, whether you've got different, you're playing the notes differently. You want to make sure you have one set to the left and one set to the right. Now you can record just central. Say this track that I've done here, you could, when you start it off central, when you record, you could do it that way and then just copy and paste it into another layer and then pan left right. But the problem is that doesn't actually make the sound different. All it essentially does is it amplifies it, it just makes it louder, so you're not actually getting the full effect. So what I do whenever I record is it's a long-winded process, especially if you've got songs that have clean tracks and you've got some effects, and you've got obviously your distorted ones and you might have some crunch. It can be a massive pain in the backside trying to do all these recordings, but when the effect at the end of it is fantastic. So if I'm going to mute these, and then I'm going to. So now I've just muted the backing track. So this is just the guitars that I've used. So what I'll show here for this track here on the left hand side. So I'm now running into 2 notes wall of sound. This is what you can get online. The software is essentially free. However, you do get a trial, a 30-day trial with just the amps it gives you. And I think the ones that are actually the bone stock, if I can remember, I think there is, yeah, as you can see here, there's a British vintage cabinet, you know, essentially like a Marshall 412. As you can see here, I haven't bought a lot of them. They're all the stock ones. The actual, I don't actually think I have many on here. But what I did buy is the NOS V30, and so if we go to cabinets, that's your list of ones that you can get. So yeah, anyway, going off course. I bought. What happens is if you buy a cabinet off the 2 Notes website, it activates your 2 Notes, and then you don't have to use the trial anymore. You've got full reign of what you're using. So as you can see here from my setting that I've made, I'm only using the one cabinet, which is the V30, and a condenser microphone in front of the amp. But what I like about this is, as you can see here, you can drag the amplifier microphone to wherever you want it in the room. And as you can see here, these parameters are changing. But what I like about how in depth it is, you can even mic it from the back. So if you want your more bass sounding tones, you can record from the back. So that's coming in after my interface, which is essentially giving me an emulated cabinet. I tried recording straight in through the head into Logic, but it was just lacking that certain something. I'll have another. I think I have another little project for it that I was writing. So, but don't close this, and I can show you. I think it was just a clean channel. It was a couple of effects, and that was just running the head straight into it. I think I can't remember if I'm perfectly honest. So we'll load this up and show you. I'm hoping all this screen sharing is working, because I've never really used it before. So okay, so as you can see here, this is a track that I was making. I've actually been using guitarist. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn these guitar rig effects off, so then you'll hear just the clean amp going straight into the Logic Pro. So hopefully you can hear that. The clean's not too bad, but then if we move into dirty range, you can hear it. Just nothing really to it. So if I turn the guitar rigs on, that's just a work in progress anyway. So let's come back out of that one. So back to Summer. So again, so this is what it was like running the 2 Notes Torpedo. Again, I'll show you a little bit of the EQ that I've run in. It's literally the final mix, the rock version, and I've boosted the gain by about 2 decibels. And so this is how it sounds. That's with the 2 Notes, and as you can see, I disabled the one track halfway through. I don't know if you picked up on it, but I did deactivate the 2 torpedoes. So if I now, on this left hand track, if I disengage torpedo, you'll hear what the head angle sounds like straight into Logic. So you get an idea of how much the cabinet emulation is really making the difference, and that's what you want to make sure that you, when you are recording, that's what you want to make sure that you've got on. Because if you don't have that cabinet emulation, that's just going to really mess up your effects. In your general sound, it's going to thicken it up, it's going to fatten it, it's going to make it, it's going to give it some depth, some real volume and some warmth, and that's what that's the difference with regards to actually getting a good sound. So as you can see here, like you can have different EQs. So usually when I'm EQing, I will just do a bit of mashing. But some songs, especially if you've got different sort of a low gain, you might want to improve some of the thin sounds, or add some presence to it, just to give it some brightness and to give it some space. But again, that's all down to personal preference as to how you like your music. So usually I would bounce all these together. As you can see, I've got the cut-off point here, and then that's it. That's the song done. I did do another one. I did do a Mercy one, Muse. So what I'll show you with this one is I also added some little effects into it because I don't have a phaser pedal. So as you can see here, again, I've got the same principle. I've got a right, I've got a left, I've got my main track in the middle, and then here I've got an effect parameter set to one of the sections. So again, so if I'm going to mute, I'll mute these first. Obviously, I don't know if you know people. So we've got a clean section there, and then we move to here. We've got a nice boosted. So yeah, and this again, I was running into the 2 notes torpedo, but this time I was using the Marshall Vintage cabinet rather than the V30 emulated. So this is how it sounds. So you can hear you can definitely hear the difference in the vintage cabinet compared to the V30. So again here, as you can see, I'll show you this phaser effect that I've put into it. So yeah, that's just a rough insight as to how I recorded it. So yeah, that's just a little insight as to the recording process that I do. If you like this, please drop me a like, subscribe, go like my Instagram, my Facebook. Feel free to add me. Any questions of anything that you'd like to see, any questions as to regards to the processes that I use. If you would like any help, any hints or any tips or anything like that, feel free to ask. I don't have a problem with actually giving any information out. Some people can be very secretive about what they use. I think that the more you share, the better. Everyone can learn from everything. So yeah, my next pedal, I'm actually going to do a review of a new guitar pedal that I got. I will actually show you. If you bear with me 1 second. So I picked this up on eBay for £15. I thought, you know what, £15, I'm not going to complain. It is an Electro-Harmonix Nano-Clone Chorus. Whether that's actually focusing or not, I'm not too sure. So yeah, £15, I thought, you know what, it can't be so bad, so I'm going to do a nice little review of that at some point. And yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you've learned something. I hope it's been beneficial for you, and until next time, take care.